Hey there, Meeple peoples. I'm Mark from the Meeple Society here with Jesse, Katie, and Greg, and I'd like to thank you for using that oddly inscribed token to ride the hidden subway into the dark underworld tunnel that we like to call Five Things. So before we begin, I want to tell you a little bit about myself that kind of gives a little background to make this particular list a little bit more clear. See, I kind of fancy myself as an artist. I draw, I write, I make maps and icons. I dabble a little bit in 3D work and music. I even paint on occasion. Now, I don't think I'm a particularly good artist, mind you, but the point is that art and visual presence just speaks to me. I feel like I can be moved quite a bit, especially in a visual medium. And board games are a wonderful visual medium. The colors, the pieces, the sculpts of the miniatures, the layout, the way the theme is integrated, the iconography. All this can add together to create a stunning visual display and turn our board gaming table from just a piece of furniture into something that grabs me on more of a visceral level, even before the first turn of a game even begins. I guess you could say it does a lot to emphasize the enjoyment of a game or turn a blah game into something more. I mean, we can pretty much agree on that, can't we?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah. It'll definitely draw you into the game.
So, certain games I've played stand out in my mind as ones whose presentation on the table just excites me. Now, it may turn out that the gameplay accentuates that look, or it may turn out that the gameplay just doesn't quite live up to that visual framing. But the sight of it on the table just grabs me and won't let me go. So, this time around, I'm giving you 5 games whose sheer table presence makes Mark giddy. Number 1, Tang Garden. Now, this one is kind of meta because, to be honest, the goal of the game is to create the most visually stunning display for your garden goers to become lost in. Developed by Thundergrip Games, who have done a lot of games with a lot of serious visual appeal, Tang Garden has you acting as the Imperial Garden designers and asking you to build the most incredible garden while balancing elements of nature during the Chinese Tang Dynasty. You draw and you place tiles and attempt to match the elements of the character you are trying to set up on the board and give them a line of sight view of things that move them. Certain trees, pagodas, animal life, murals, and life paintings. The whole thing is very zen. You draw decoration cards and you place their corresponding decorations in an attempt to set collect your way to more points towards the end. And eventually, the player with the most prestige points for their creation at the end is the winner. But in truth, the game itself, everyone is a winner because you get to look at this amazing 3D diorama and it's a sheer work of art. It's an astoundingly beautiful game. It's easily one of the most beautiful games we own. Now, we've only played it a couple times, and both times, even though I found myself overwhelmed by the table presence, if I have to be brutally honest, I don't know if the gameplay itself necessarily lives up to to the sheer beauty of those visuals. There's a little bit of a fiddly side to the rules, which that's okay. It works in an RPG game, but it doesn't do as well in this style. And if I'm going to be absolutely and completely honest, there's no murder, adventure, or dice chucking in this game, which kind of drops it down a step from my usual level of play. But those caveats aside, the way this looks on a table never ceases to draw me in. Now, you guys haven't had a chance to play Tang Garden just yet.
No, but I think it's on the list of playing the games to play at your library.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you guys have ever taken a look at the pictures on BGG, this is an astoundingly beautiful game.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I think that's what draws me in. Like you said, it's appearance. Appearance will draw you in.
Yep.
That's why they have them out at Gen Con too, you know?
Yep.
Draws you in. And take a look at this
Look
game.
at this. Look at this. Hey, we've got you hooked.
Yep.
Now you get a buy.
Yep.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Number 2, the Reckoners. So kind of on the other side from my number 1 on the list is the Reckoners by Nauvoo Games, because it brings all kinds of murder, adventure, and dice chucking to the table. But on top of that, it does it with this visual presence that just screams grandiose adventure. This is brought along by just some amazing production values. The size of the game box is huge to begin with, but then everything in there tells you that the designers left absolutely nothing to chance. They just brought it all. So the story is that a while back, a mysterious burst in the sky changed normal men and women into what they call epics, each with extraordinary powers, but it also kind of twisted them into evil, self-serving murderers, which if I got extraordinary powers, I probably wouldn't be a murderer, but I'd be pretty close. The goal of the game is to take down these epics and work your way into investigating and learning the weakness of Steelheart, who is the all-powerful epic leader, so that you can destroy him. The Reckoners is a co-op, and gameplay is wonderful. It utilizes teamwork and dice mitigation for actions, and you never feel like you're out of potential moves, even when the odds are stacking up against you. But it's the visual appeal of this game that really grabs me. From the gritty and well-done art to the miniatures to the game trays that are used to track your enemies and bring new ones in. And it just makes it a gorgeous addition to the table. The dice are great and chunky, and they have these colored icons on them that are easy to tell apart. The player board trays are plastic and have great visual appeal. And then like even the movable gauges on the villain boards to show their level of power, they just work and they look great doing it. It's an absolutely stunning game, and the way it sits on a table is half what makes it a joy to play, even as you sit down. That's the Reckoners.
Yep. And this is what the presence is what got me and Katie to sit down and play it at Gen Con. And like I said, 1 or 2 plays through, we decided that
we didn't even go full play. We were 2 rounds into the game. 2 rounds.
Right. That's what I meant. 1 or 2 rounds, not plays.
Right behind us was the cash register. From the table at Gen Con. And the guy, I overheard the guy telling somebody that they only had 1 copy left of the Kickstarter version of the game. That was it. And Greg and I looked at each other and we both kind of nodded. And it's like, here you go. Here's my credit card.
Nope.
That one's mine.
Do you guys have the Kickstarter version?
No.
Yes, we do.
We do. It's not the paint. The minis aren't painted though, are they?
The minis aren't painted, but other than that, it is the Kickstarter version. It has the upgraded pieces and everything like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Ours is the minis are painted.
The minis are painted and we got the metal pieces.
We've got
the metal with resin and metal.
No, they're all resin or plastic. It's just we have that one like sterling silver piece of the bad
Steelheart. Yes, no,
Steelheart, yeah. Which I don't know what it's for, because you have the painted Steelheart and then you have this metal Steelheart. So
the latest Kickstarter had 3 levels. You had the base level, you had the upgraded level, which is what we got, and then you had the full upgrade, which had the painted minis as well.
Right.
The upgraded has the metal.
Yes.
Like the metal pieces.
Tracking cubes.
Yes, tracking.
Oh, yeah, the tracking cubes. Yes.
All of our tracking cubes are metal, and which was, I mean, honestly, at least at Gen Con, it was only like a $10 or $20 difference, and we wanted the painted minis. I don't paint my minis. I wanted painted minis.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the minis to begin with. I thought you were talking about the minis being
no.
metal. I was like, no, it's just the one Steelheart mini that we have is painted, which I don't understand what it's for, because we have the plastic mini of Steelheart that's painted.
It's for looking nice on your mantle.
Yeah, I guess it's like, just here, put that up there.
All right, number 3, Oracle of Delphi. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get some people calling foul on this. I bet I co-host a podcast with at least one of them, but I am pulling. The idea is, well, if you're pulling a Stefan Feld game out of your butt for the list, it should have been Bonfire. And I get that. I agree. Bonfire does have its own beauty, but the mythos behind Bonfire, it's just too out there for me. It's esoteric. Whereas Oracle of Delphi here, in my opinion, it matches the aesthetics in Bonfire, but it does so with that Greek myth and legend that just grabs me, because I'm huge into Greek mythology and Greek history and everything like that. And from the moment I set up this game with this modular hex board setup, which is reminiscent of the Aegean Sea, and then you add things like the trireme pieces and the oracle player boards and the Greek letter emblazoned dice and the temples and mythological beast, I'm hooked. I'm hooked just from the look of it. And it's all done in these beautifully vibrant colors that make you immediately forget that most of the time Stefan Feld games are done colored and have city backdrops. They're muted. They're not beautiful. They're just muted. The goal of the game is to complete 12 texts given to you by Zeus, and Oracle at Delphi at its base pretty much turns out to be a pick up and deliver game. But the C hexes have a bright, vibrant hue ringed with color. The iconography of Greece is everywhere in the pieces, on the player boards, on the gods track, where there's this wonderful cloudscape behind the gods on top of that. So it still manages to grab me with its visuals. Now, gameplay wise, I'm going to say I don't know that it's necessarily the best out there. And like a lot of Feld games, it's a commitment. You're not going to pull this game out and then inside of an hour have it shelved again and be, sitting there making dinner and going, wow, that was a great game or anything like that. You're going to be spending 2 to 3 hours playing this. Mm-hmm. But it's one of the few that I've noticed that while you're playing it, you're transported into ancient Greece in the time of heroes. And a lot of that is just from the visuals you get. So for me, that makes it more than worth it. So that is Oracle of Delphi.
Just not my game.
I love this game though. So I don't know whether it's because we discovered it shortly after going to Delphi.
Mm-hmm. But we've been to Delphi. We've seen the Oracle, but
we saw the ruins of all the buildings.
You saw the ruin,
but
we saw the Oracle, and she said, "You will not like this game."
No, I like it because it is different from his other games. This one is basically a race game. There is no point salad to this one, and don't get me wrong, I love his point salads. I love Bonfire. I love Castles of Burgundy. Mm-hmm. I like most of his games. Matter of fact, there's only one I've ever found I didn't like.
Yeah, but Mark or whatever, however you pronounce that.
But this one, I don't know, the race aspect of it. Don't get me wrong, I've never won this game, but I like that race aspect. You're not racing after points; you are racing after achievements and
completing tasks.
I like it. I always have.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't like it.
Whatever. I'll go play with Mark and Jess. Then you can stay home.
You could play.
No problem.
You could play Baby Monster Rescue with Lyric.
Oh, there we go. I'll play that. But I don't know. It's just maybe it's because it's a racing game, and I'm not a real big fan of the racing games. But or I like pickup and delivery, but maybe it's because it's a Stefan Feld game and it's completely different than anything else. But
you go into it going, this is a Stefan Feld game. No, it's not.
Right. That's I think that the first time we played this, because we got it at Gen Con one year and we played it at Gen Con. I was like, this does not feel like a Stefan Feld game. And maybe that's my problem. It doesn't feel like a Stefan Feld game.
Possibly.
But there are games out there too that are Stefan Feld games that don't feel like Stefan Feld games either. But this one, I don't know. I just
don't like it when he's versatile with his games. That's all it is. You like one thing, and that's what he has to do. And you don't like when he decides to be versatile.
I like Trajan. I like Amerigo. This is the one game I don't know. I don't even think it's that good of that great looking. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Too bad. You're outvoted.
Okay. Yeah, art is subjective.
That's right.
It's true.
And you're outvoted. So
maybe
number 4. Number 4. Speaking of subjective art, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. Now, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to sit there and tell me that really the art aspect in Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective doesn't take up that much of the whole bit of the gameplay. But there's something about this game that just hits me just right with its level of visual appeal and flavor, despite the fact that, let's be honest, there are no components to it really beyond the printed material. There are no miniatures. There are no wooden pieces. There are no meeples. So it's almost all printout. But when you open the slipcase and you spread out this gritty 19th century map of London, you start to look over these era relevant newspapers with like even ads in them that like feel like it's something from the 18th century or the late 1800s, the 19th century. And these printed handouts, you just can't help but get that excitement level for the thrill of the chase and mystery churning in your blood. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you all, and I'm going to say that I am someone who has admittedly tried and failed badly to read the original Sir Arthur Conan Doyle Sherlock Holmes books. And I don't even mind if you call me out on it, because I'll be honest, I love fantasy, but reading through Tolkien is such a slog. It is not funny. All right.
No hate mail, please, guys.
No. I understand. And you can point it right at me, at the grumpy Meeple. All right. But the scope and feel of the consulting detective books puts me in a mindset of Victorian London and the dangers and everything like that, in the ways that I just don't feel like the books ever could for me. There's just so much goodness in these slipcover cases. And this is all despite the fact that I know every time we pull it out, and Jess can attest to this, we are going to get smashed by Holmes in the end. He is going to call us a pair of inveterate lackwits, and if we had more than 2 functioning brain cells to rub together, we'd have certainly known that Sister Corinna had orphaned a child before she entered the convent, and that was obviously so much more important to the case than the murder weapon we stumbled across while, bumbling our way through the London underground. This game just excites me from the moment we pull it out and open it up. It's not specifically that it's a lavish production, but that everything fits the theme so well. And that is the entire Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective series.
And it's like the ending when Sherlock breaks everything down for you. In typical, Sherlock type fashion, he's not coming right out and calling you a bumbling idiot. Oh no.
I hope not.
He's using language, large words, hefty vocabulary, while he's calling you a complete nitwit.
Even your insincere wit should have figured. And you're like, oh yeah, wait, you just insulted me.
Yeah, it's it's a joy to read.
We haven't played this one yet, so
no.
And
we'll see.
I was just saying, this one may not fit in your alley. Like,
Right.
Saying that mysteries are not generally, if mysteries are not your, if mysteries.
I love solving mysteries.
Read mysteries. Love to read mysteries.
Oh yeah.
Do not like having to try to solve them.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I did. The idea escape room sounds so much fun to me. I love the concept behind Chronicles of Crime and time stories, and love it. Super bad at it. I can't get it. My brain just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Super, super bad. I mean, emphasis on
shush.
super. But, what did I quote for? Never mind. Yeah, it's not her type of game. I love solving mysteries, but
no, I hate trying to figure out what the author of the story was thinking. It just annoys me because it never makes sense to me. My brain goes a different route than theirs did, and I don't know whether I'm just taking a shortcut and jumping ahead, or I'm off on my own little somewhere else. I don't know. But I can't get into the author's, what they were thinking when they wrote it and when they designed it. So therefore it just, it's an exercise in frustration for me. So I just, I will play them with other people. Greg has learned not to pull it out with just me though, because he's solving it by himself if he does.
Yep. Because I know the last game of, what was that?
Chronicles
of Crime. Yeah, she was ready after the third place we went and ran into a dead end. It's like, oh, we're not going to get anywhere. It's like,
and it took us a while.
Chill out. We'll find it someplace. We're just missing something. Okay.
All right. And number 5, Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Yes.
Okay. So full disclosure here, there are a few different ways I could have gone here. We have not actually still gotten a chance to play Zolkin. which has a ton of visual appeal.
Yeah.
And I also really like how much there is to say A Feast for Odin, but I don't know that the artwork necessarily blows my socks off. And while I personally love how the visual appeal of the components of Folklore, The Affliction, and the Dungeons and Dragons tabletop board games gear me up for a few hours of RPG style adventure, I didn't really want to go that route with this. But Lost Ruins of Arnak, from the moment that it gets set out on the table, it evokes this feeling of an Indiana Jones adventure better than anything that I've seen with an actual Lucasfilm IP. The artwork is beautifully drawn. It's lovingly pieced together to give that over our head feeling that of exploring a dense jungle during the heyday of archaeological discovery, finding these wonderful ancient temples guarded by dangerous beasts. You're the leader of an archaeological expedition, which apparently archaeological is a really hard word for me to get my head around. You're the leader of an archaeological expedition to explore this island and find the secrets of the island ruins. There are deck building aspects, worker placement, resource management. You try to find these artifacts and face the temple guardians while you explore. And the gameplay is fun and not so blown up in tactical consideration that you lose the fun aspect of the theme and the shuffling of pieces. It's really a great game overall. But the visuals, man, the pieces, the cards, the boards itself, it all works together so well to give you this huge panorama of stumbling through the jungle to find this vista overlooking forbidden, long lost ancient temple. It's like smack you upside the face to make you take notice. Beautiful. I mean, it was, when we were pulling it out for the first time, Jess and I were both like stupidly excited just by the sheer look and feel of the game, enough that we wanted to skip the rules run through and just get right down to playing. And never mind the fact that watching rules run throughs is actually one of the reasons we don't play more games.
Oh, that's like if I can't sleep, I should just watch people rules run through videos.
Yes.
I am so sorry, people.
At any rate, the sheer visual scope and beauty of this game grabbed us both and made us just froth to play this game. So, Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Yep.
That would be my number 5.
It's a fun game, and
yes,
they have the really nice components with it. I mean, you don't even have to have a deluxe version of it. They come with like deluxe components, because those components could have easily been little chits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah,
easy.
Those are really cool.
The components are gorgeous. The artwork is gorgeous. The board is enormous.
Yes.
It is.
But yeah, no, it's a beautiful game.
No, this is definitely one of my favorites as far as just the look and just grabbing you from the point that you look at it on the table. You're like, oh, okay, I need to sit down with this.
Right?
Yes, agreed.
Yep. All righty. So do you guys have like any particular games that like visually grab you?
Gosh,
I was thinking about that.
I should have been thinking about that. I knew that question was going to come. As I'm looking around my game room.
On Mars kind of has, it's not bad looking. It's definitely a game that I would be like, what is this game, if I seen it on the table and I had never played it before.
Yeah.
Same with Lisboa, which is the same thing. But other than that, I was trying to think of other games that we have that.
I like that the Azul games excite me. They're gorgeous. The tiles are beautiful. The components are beautiful, and you can find overlays for them. My only complaint with the Azul games is that the tiles move around because you don't have the inlay boards, but you can find components for those. You can find aftermarket stuff for that. So, and we have for most of them. So I really like those visually. Well, I like the games anyway, but visually they're nice too. Of course, Sagrada is gorgeous.
Yep.
No matter how you do it, it's beautiful. Yeah, I think those would be my 2 big ones, I think, off the top of my head.
Rampage, right behind you there, Katie. Rampage has a really cool visual table presence.
A very good visual. Yes, that is definitely one that will catch somebody's attention as they walk by it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not big on dex games, but it is a dex game. It is a dexterity game. But it's a lot of fun, especially when you break it out with a couple of, early teenage kids.
Right.
I think Terror Below, but with those little cars you were telling me about. It's a cool looking game anyway. It's like the whole Tremors kind of call out there, but I think with some improvised components.
Using micro machines.
We use the micro machines.
Yeah. For whatever weird reason, I still have a whole collection of micro machines left from when the boys were little.
Right.
And they're fun to pick through when we play this game.
Okay, so what about you viewers? Do you guys have any favorite games that just look really beautiful and grab you from the moment? Why don't you leave some details in the comments? And that is Mark's 5 things for this week.